How's it going, Digidestined? It's been a while. What's up, Digidestined? Some of you may know me, some of you may not. It's been about a year since my last upload. It's been about a year and a half since my last Digimon upload. And it's been even longer since I've actually sat down and played a game of Digimon. I probably haven't played Digimon in about 2.5 years, maybe 2 years. But my Digimon content, I last posted about a year and a half ago. Today, I went and participated in my first Digimon locals in about 2.5 years, and it was BT21 legal. The day before, I went to a pre-release and was able to pick up a lot of the cards, met a lot of my new local community because I moved since the last time I played Digimon, and it was an incredible experience. I don't know what came over me to go play Digimon again. As some of you may know, I sold everything. I decided I wasn't going to play Digimon again when I did stop playing last. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about being back and also winning not only my first real locals since I've been back, but also the first locals in my community since BT21 has been out. That's right, this tournament was BT21 legal. The store that we were holding the event at actually hadn't gotten their BT21 product yet. It was delayed. But all of the stores around us had been holding BT21 pre-releases since Friday. And it was Sunday, so, the community had a majority of the pieces we needed to play the deck. So they said, you know what? We're sorry we can't do a pre-release. We're going to let you guys who do have the new cards play them. So this was our first locals of that new format. And it was so much fun. I think everybody in the room was playing completely new decks, all decks that had gotten support in that set. I ended up winning the entire event, and I was very happy. Prior to this, I had done one locals and my pre-release, and that's all I've done in my new community. Not only were the people incredible, the new faces I met were incredible, but some people also recognized me and said hello, and it was really awesome. So if any of you are watching this video, hi. I'm really happy to be part of this community, and I will be around for the foreseeable future and a lot longer. I really enjoyed spending time with you. But that is not what this is about. This is not about you listening to me talk. You're here to see what a BT21 Xros Heart deck looks like with the new cards. That being said, let's hop right into the deck profile. All right, guys, we're back again with another deck profile. This is the deck that I took and got first at my first BT21 locals. A big shout out to Hoang Zero. I'm gonna have a link to his video in the description down below. When I first got back into the game, I knew I wanted to pick up Xros Heart. This is a deck that I just have so much comfort in from playing before. And it's the deck that I figured my skills transitioned best to because I used to be able to play this deck like the back of my hand. Obviously, there's a lot of new cards now, but I had a pretty good understanding of Xros Heart and how to optimally utilize it. But Hoang did make a video during the previous format about a Xros Heart deck that he made and topped with. And so basically, the start of this deck, and you'll see, is very similar to his list. And definitely go watch that video because he talks a lot about insights and strategies with the deck. It's an incredible video. So shout out to Hoang and check that out. Obviously, there's going to be differences because it is legal now for BT21. And then also, I just want to talk about some of the key changes and the way the deck plays. But there will be a link in the description down below if you want to go watch that. Now let's hop right into the deck. We're going to start with 4 Digitama. So our 4 Digitama is actually Pikmons. So Pikmons is a red Digi-Egg. And it says, when attacking once per turn by placing 1 Digimon card with Xros Heart or Blue Flare trait from your hand under any of your Tamers, you get to draw 1. So basically, whenever you attack, you just get to tuck a card, which is very, very vital for the Xros Heart strategy because it's all about tucking cards under your Tamer and using your Tamers and the Digimon under them to reduce the play costs of the bigger Digimon you play onto the field. So drawing you that +1 hand advantage is also great. Then we move on to our rookies. The biggest thing that makes Xros Heart unconventional is its rookie chain. So especially in this deck, we are only playing 8 rookies. We are playing 4 copies of BT19 Shoutmon and 4 copies of BT19 Sparrowmon. So let's start with Shoutmon. Shoutmon is our main level 3. It has 1 cost Evo on top of any red or yellow level 3, but also it digivolves for a cost of 0 on top of any Xros Heart level 2, which would be our Pikmons as a Xros Heart, so it can Digivolve on top of that for free. Also, it has an on-play effect that allows you to Digivolve it into an Omni Shoutmon from under one of your Tamers for a cost of 0. This is very strong, and I'll go into that combo a little later. And then on deletion, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, play up to 1 Tamer you find there with Xros Heart and its traits for free, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck, and then it saves itself. It also has an inheritable Rush, meaning that anything that this is a source of can attack the turn it's played, which is very strong. Then we have 4 copies of Sparrowmon. Sparrowmon is the same thing. It can Digivolve for a cost of 0 on top of a Xros Heart. Otherwise, it Digivolves for 1 on top of a purple or a black. It has when attacking, it may Digivolve into a Raptor Sparrowmon from under one of your Tamers for a cost of 0. And then on deletion, save. And then it has your turn. This Digimon with Xros Heart gains collision, meaning when it attacks, whatever it's on top of gains the effect that all of your opponent's Digimon become blockers and they have to block, which is very, very good board removal and board control that came up against Magnamon X Antibody. It was very, very nice. Then we're going to go ahead and set these aside, and we're going to move on to the rest of the deck. I'm going to set these over here. We have 4 copies of Shooting Starmon and 4 copies of Raptor Sparrowmon for our level 4s. Raptor Sparrowmon, it can Digivolve on top of level 3 Xros Heart for a cost of 2. It's always treated as Sparrowmon for Digicross as well, so it's Raptor Sparrowmon and Sparrowmon, which is very nice. And then on play and when Digivolving, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Xros Heart or Blue Flare from among them to your hand, and then trash the rest. Additionally, every card we talk about from here on outward, unless I say otherwise, is going to have the on deletion effect of you may place 1 Digimon card with Xros Heart or Blue Flare traits from your trash or hand under one of your Tamers. So they don't directly have save, they get to save other things, which is very nice. And then Raptor Sparrowmon again has that collision keyword that it's passing on to as it's inheritable to 2 Xros Hearts. And then we have Shooting Starmons. So Shooting Starmons always counts as Starmons. It evolves on top of a Xros Heart level 3 for a cost of 2. And then all turns, once per turn, when a Xros Heart trait Digimon is played until the end of your opponent's turn, you give one of your opponent's Digimon security attack -1 and -3k. It has that same on deletion effect as before. And then when attacking as an inheritable, this Digimon is Xros Heart in its traits. One of your opponent's Digimon gets -2k. The -3k is nice. It pops rookies. It came up today in a game against Gamamon where it popped a Bokomon, which was very nice. And the security attack -1 is a lingering effect, which is very, very good. We are on 4 copies of this. I believe Hoang's list only played 3 and then an Ukomon. I'm on 4 copies because of consistency purposes. I wanted to always see this card because it's not only a real nice card just to basically, we'll talk about later, but you'll get a free body just for playing this card. And then it also helps you win the game, right? Which I'll talk about as well later. So we'll set this aside as well. So we are on a total of 8 rookies and a total of 8 level 4s. And obviously we still have a lot of deck left. So this deck is pretty unconventional in that sense. Next, we'll move on to our level 5s. We play 3 copies of Jaeger Dorulamon. So this always counts as Dorulamon. It can Digivolve for a cost of 3 on top of a Xros Heart. And then it has on play when Digivolving. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then until the end of their turn, one of their Digimon can't activate when Digivolving effects or unsuspend. This card is very, very good at stun locking your opponent, especially if they're playing a strong when Digivolving effect or a deck that really wants to sort of be aggressive and attack as much as possible. You're basically not letting them have a body. And then it does have that same on deletion effect. Additionally, it also gives Xros Heart's Piercing as an inheritable. I think Jaeger Dorulamon is actually a lot better in this format because there's a lot more decks that you want to stop those when Digivolving effects. Before, I typically often use it as just the name, but all of these level 5s actually are pretty valuable. Next, we're going to move on to Alter Ballistamon. Again, it counts as Ballistamon. It can Evo for a cost of 3 on top of a Xros Heart level 4. And then it has on play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. One of your Digimon cannot be returned to hand or deck, and it gets +3k. Same on deletion effect, and then it gives Blocker as an inheritable. Blocker as an inheritable is very, very important about this card. The +3 and can't be bounced comes up a little bit against blue decks because their main source of removal is going to be bouncing to hand or returning to deck. So this is a very nice card to play or Digivolve into. Now, this is where the main change comes in with BT21. And that is our main level 5, actually, is the new BT21 Omni Shoutmon. Now, I considered playing a 1-3 copy of this, 3 of the new one and 1 of the BT19 Omni Shoutmon. The BT19 Omni Shoutmon basically has on play when Digivolving. You get to minus 3k something and then blow up a 3k body. And then it has an inheritable of Rush and the same on deletion effect as everything else. This card does not have those. This card allows you to extend plays and have a really strong sneak win or a really strong way to get some damage in early, as well as leave a strong body on your board. And I'll talk about that. So what this does is it digivolves on top of a Shoutmon for a cost of 4 or a level 4 Crossheart for a cost of 3. Its name is treated as Shoutmon for Digicross. And then at the end of the attack, you may play 1 card with Crossheart, Blue Flare, or hero trait from among them. From your hand with a play cost of 5. Reduce it by a play cost of 5. If you did, delete this Digimon. So what that means is at the end of the battle, it swings. You basically get to just play a body for free, and it is a reduced cost of 5. That can be your Tamer, that can be, you know, Jaeger Darulamon for 2, that can be Alter Ballistamon for 2, but it does delete itself at the end of that battle. What's cool though is it actually has another on deletion effect. So it has on deletion, you may play 1 Digimon card with the Crossheart, or sorry, you may place 1 Digimon card with Crossheart or Blue Flare trait from your hand or trash under any of your Tamers, then save. So it has that same effect, but it also saves itself. Why this is so cool is if we go back to our rookie lineup, this Shoutmon allows you to Digivolve on top of a, on play, it gets to Digivolve into a Omni Shoutmon from under one of your Tamers for free. Okay, it has inheritable Rush. So does the Omni Shoutmon, doesn't matter, but they have the inheritable Rush, meaning now you get to attack, right? End of attack, you get to play something with a cost of 5 or less from your hand, or basically a 5. You get to reduce it by 5. I have another Shoutmon in my hand. I'm gonna play that. This gets deleted, right? So this is the trash over here. Then I'm going to save something from my trash. This is my trash. This is a Tamer. I then get to save something from my trash. Okay, sorry, it's not upside down. So I'll save this Jaeger Darula. And then I will save this as well because it has save. Now I will resolve the Shoutmon that I played. On play, bring Omni Shouty back, do it again. Maybe we'll play out a Jaeger Darula. It is very, very strong. And for the play extension purposes, I believe Digimon is in a state where minus 3k and blow up a 3k body is not as strong as it once was. Don't get me wrong, I do believe it still has its times of being incredibly, incredibly strong. However, I do not think that this is one of those times. I think in the current state of the game, having that sort of loop to get a body on another body on the board, especially in this deck where you're not really leaving bodies on the board except for your main boss monster, being able to just slap one of these down is very, very nice. So that is the new Omni Shoutmon. It's a very, very good card in the deck. Definitely, I think the best addition to the deck in this set. And we'll talk about some other choices later in the video. 3 copies of Z Greymon. On play when Digivolving, Digivolve to one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, you get to bounce a level 4 or lower to the hand. It actually has the same on deletion effect as the Omni Shoutmon, which is very nice, where it saves something else from hand or trash, but then it also saves itself. And then this has all turns plus 2k as an inheritable. We have our big boss monster, Shoutmon X7, or sorry, X6. I was thinking about X7 because there was a new X7 superior mode in the set. However, I don't think it's that strong. I've been talked to about it a little bit at my locals, and I was like, it's like okay, right? I think that the previous EX6 is much better. However, I think there's some very cool stuff you can do with the new EX7, which is playing it for a reduced cost of 5 off of this Omni Shoutmon. However, you can also just do that with the old X7 superior mode. If you don't know what EX6 does, is basically it has Alliance, Reboot, and Material Save 4. On play for each color and its sources, you get to minus 1k DP for the turn one of your opponent's Digimon, but then you get to play a Shooting Starmon from your trash out. And then Shooting Starmon will see itself hit the board, and it'll minus 3k and do a security minus. And then it also has, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much DP or less than this Digimon's. I oftentimes will forget about that, but because you've usually removed something on the board otherwise, but it is very nice because basically you're going to remove at least probably 3 things with this, right? You're going to do a DP minus removal. You're going to do a when attacking removal, and then you're going to do a collision removal, which is very, very good. And you have all those inheritables. And then obviously it does have alliance. So that Shooting Starmon you played that can't attack, you can alliance with it and make it 17. Or if you have the Jaeger, you can, Z, you can make it 19, which is very, very nice. Definitely, I think one of the best top ends that Shoutmon could have. Additionally, we are on 2 copies of Vader Arm. Usually I don't DNA this. It's a lot. Basically, you're already winning, I think, if you have 2 EX6s on the board. But evoing this on top of EX6 can really clean up a lot of games and turn the tide of the game in your favor, right? It has security attack +1. It has partition. And then it has Wind Digivolving for each level 6 in the source. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Gain 1 memory. Then none of their Digimon or Tamers can activate on play effects or unsuspend until the end of their turn. So this card can really help you clean up games if you don't have lethal on this turn, but you will next turn by playing Vader Arm. So Vader Arm is very, very strong. Moving on to our Tamers. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tamers because nothing has changed. We have 4 Taiki Kudos from BT10, 4 Taiki Nene and Kiriha from BT11, and then 1 Nene from BT19. Now, we did get new Tamers, right? We got the new Taiki. However, I think the new Taiki is very odd. I considered putting it in this deck. However, it fights for spots with all 3 of these. It's a memory setter. So it's counting. Sorry, it's not a memory setter, but it functionally acts like one. So it's somewhat competing with Nene for our 1-of slot. But it has the exact same effect as the start of your main phase effect that Taiki, Kiriha, and Nene have. So it's basically just doing the same thing as this. But in in red yellow, and then it has the exact same secondary effect as these 2 cards that allows you to cross with your Tamers, which is very interesting. I think it's a good design space to have that additional memory gain and drawing a card. I think the main problem is the Tamers are already so tight. I do think if you want, you could probably cut the trio for it. But I like the trio more, but it's all right. I don't think it's super good in the deck, but again, this is literally day 1 of BT21. My opinion could change anytime, right? So don't take this as definitive. This is an early list. If I do more playtesting and I'm like, oh wait, like the color really matters, or I actually can't remember if it's start of main phase like this is. It might not be start of main phase. Which could offer some utility because you could raise, swing, get an additional draw before you use it. So if it's not start of main phase, it might offer some utility there, which is pretty nice. But for the most part, the Tamers don't need to change, I don't think. I think Taiki, the BT10 Taiki is a mandatory 4-of. It's one of your main searchers, and it's your cheapest cost Tamer. Nene I really like as a 1-of. It's not searchable. I believe it and Vader Arm are the only non-searchable pieces in your deck. However, allowing you to cross with cards in your trash, if you do see your 1 copy of Nene, is so strong. Lastly, we're moving on to the options. The options has not changed. We have 3 copies of Sepia Memory Boost and 3 copies of Meteor Rock Soul. Sepia, right, it's going to check top 3 for black or yellow and then gain 2 as a delay. Meteor Rock Soul is your finisher. For 3, you can rest a Shooting Starmon. You get to unsuspend a Shooting Star and Shoutmon EX6, and they get to attack a player. However, now Meteor Rock Soul does have extra utility. Obviously, before you could pull out either Sparrowmon or Shoutmon from under one of your Tamers with its other effect. But now you can go Shoutmon and start that loop of getting a bigger body on board through the Omni Shout and BT21. So that effect actually did come up. I was in a position earlier today where I was not able to really win the game by EX6ing. So I was like, that would be a waste of value. So what I actually did is I Meteor Rock Soul to pull out the Shoutmon, go into Omni Shout, get a chip in, and then Omni Shout tag out into Jaeger Derulamon to stun my opponent's body on board to make sure that that body could not do anything, knowing that I could clean up on follow-up, which was very, very good. So that is my Xros Heart in BT21 deck profile. There's literally only the one new card. We got a handful in the booster set. I'm going to keep playing. Obviously, with global unification, we don't really know what the meta is going to be like, and I love that personally. However, it also makes deck building very hard because as not only someone who's coming back to the game, but someone who the game has changed so much since I last played, there's a lot to learn with the way the game is played now. And I was telling some of my friends, you know, that I had talked to when I was like, yo guys, you know, I went to a Digimon local, and talking to them, some of my old friends in the community, I said, yeah, I got very lucky and didn't play against Galactimon today because Galactimon will actually destroy this deck. They will blow up your Tamers and you lose, right? I think there was one game today where I only saw one Tamer. It was a trio, the triplet Tamer. And my opponent just was very unlucky, right? I was playing with one Tamer and it was just everything was under that Tamer. And I was like, I don't know if your deck has a way to blow up Tamers, but if it does and you hit it, I will scoop because it's not happening. I had checked most of my security, but I was able to win the game. Obviously, they told me afterwards that their deck didn't have Tamer removal, which I sort of figured, but I did not know if, you know, something had changed since I last played. So this deck definitely is very susceptible to that Tamer removal, and Galactimon is a very hard matchup. And I suspect Galactimon will be a very good deck this set as well. So definitely watch out for that. However, if you can just dodge Galactimon, I think this deck is very, very strong. So yeah, thank you for watching. And again, I'm going to put that link to Hoang's video for more analysis and more thought on the deck in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it'd mean so much to me if you left a like and comment to me what deck you're looking forward to most in BT21. I have a couple more deck profiles coming out like this. I also wanted to do some stuff on the simulator as well as Digimon Card.dev. So I will be making videos using all of that in the future. I don't know how many videos I'm making a week. I don't want to set myself to a hard and schedule. I'm really just going to be doing this when I have time. So please, you know, bear with me on that while I figure out what I can do, how many videos I can put out a week. That being said, I really enjoyed this. It'd mean the world to me if you left a subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Peace.